What's up, everybody? You feel this beat right here? Here we go. Hey! We about to stamp this out. So if you feel mad, come on, come on.
I jumped in my car with my bag of stamps, my punches and my apron on. Driving to a house where my girlfriends wait to see my new catalog.
Yeah, you know I love it.
Here I am and it's time for me to shine. Grab my bag and I'm nervous like the first time. It all seems so crazy. I was looking for a way to make it.
Hey.
Now we're chilling out, having such a good time. Somewhere here for the very first time. Making and taking, being creative, blowing everybody's mind.
I said what? Come on.
Blowing everybody's mind.
We coming at you, here we go, come on, say
it. Share what we love what we do. Come on, sing it with me. It doesn't get much better. Stepping out together.
Yeah.
Share what we love what we do. Our life is good.
It's so
Say
good.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We're sharing it with the world.
Everybody say
yeah, yeah, yeah. We're sharing it with the world. Sometimes I have to pinch myself that I can do this every day. Helping someone express themselves in a new and exciting way. Downloading with my digital studio, embossing or doing the rock and roll. So many ways to take it when you're using your imagination.
yeah, come on.
Having fun with our exclusive product lines, showing my flair with award-winning designs, sharing my passion for art and fashion. I am a rising star.
Yeah,
I am a rising star.
it's your rising star. You're coming far, going far. Come
Share
on.
what we love what we do. Come on, sing it with me.
Yeah, you gotta love it.
Doesn't get much better. Be a demonstrator. We share what we love what we do. Our life is
So good, so
Say
good.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We're sharing it with the world.
Everybody say
yeah, yeah, yeah. We're sharing it with the
sharing
world.
with the world.
Heart and soul, I'm giving it all. Freedom to live, freedom to grow, unlimited. That's how I roll, Miss Independent. Hanging with my girls at
Come on.
Dimension.
This is for the demonstrators, rubber stamping educators, hosting party innovators, never being imitators. Always rocking it right and never wrong. Always keeping it tight and coming strong. No matter where you at in the world, it's still the same thing. Bringing you the same game, stamping with the same name. German, French, Spanish, English, say A. Share it with the world, you know we stamping every day.
Share what we love what we do. Come on, sing it with me.
Yeah, you gotta love it.
Doesn't get much better. Stepping out together. We share what we love what we do. Our life
Share
is
it
good.
with the
Say
world.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We're sharing it with the world.
You gotta
Say
share it.
yeah,
You gotta
yeah,
share it.
yeah.
Come on.
We're sharing it with the world.
Sharing it with the world.
Share what we love what we do.
Stepping in
Come on,
the
sing it
daytime,
with
stepping every
me.
night.
Doesn't get much better.
Stepping
Be
in
a
the daytime,
फूल यसले धार्मिक र सांस्कृतिक रूपमा जुनसुकै समुदायमा पनि विशेष महत्व राख्दै आएको छ। मानिस जन्मदा होस् या मृत्युवरण गर्दा जुनसुकै संस्कृतिमा फूलको प्रयोग गरिएको पाइन्छ। त्यस्तै एक आपसमा मित्रता, प्रेम साटासाट गर्न एवं सम्मान दर्शाउन पनि फूलकै प्रयोग हुँदै आएको छ। विशेष गरी पूर्वीय संस्कृतिमा दिनहुँ गरिने पूजाआजा, समय समयमा मनाइने चाडपर्व, मेला आदिमा फूलकै प्रयोग गरिएको पाइन्छ। यो बाहेक फूल जुनसुकै स्थानमा पनि सजावटका लागि प्रयोग गरिने प्रमुख वस्तु हो।
पहिलो कुरो त फूलको काम भनेको सजावट नै हो र हाम्रो सांस्कृतिक कारणले, हाम्रो परम्परागत कारणले हामी सबै नेपालीहरू फूलको प्रयोग गर्ने बानी छ हामीसँग। सबैले फूलको प्रयोग गरिरहेका छौँ र खास गरी सजावटको लागि मात्र नभएर विभिन्न समारोहहरू, कार्यक्रमहरू र सांस्कृतिक कार्यक्रमहरूमा पनि फूलको प्रयोग गरिन्छ। जेसुकै काममा प्रयोग गरे पनि फूल के सजावटको लागि प्रयोग गरिन्छ कि चाहिँ हाम्रो सांस्कृतिक रूपमा चलाउनको लागि विभिन्न कार्यक्रममा, समारोहमा प्रयोग गरिएको छ।
जसका कारण फूलले घरेलु मात्र होइन विदेशी बजारमा पनि उत्तिकै महत्व राख्दै आएको छ। हिमाल, पहाड र तराईको रूपमा विभाजित नेपालको हावापानीमा विश्वको जुनसुकै स्थानमा पाइने फूलहरूको व्यावसायिक उत्पादन गर्न सकिने सम्भावना छ। तर यहाँ खपत हुने फूल र यसको उत्पादनमा धेरै ठूलो अन्तर रहेको पाइन्छ। हुन त नेपालमा उत्पादन भएको फूल राम्रो गुणस्तरको भएका कारण विदेशी बजारमा निर्यात पनि हुँदै आएको छ।
नेपालको फूल खास गरी नेपालबाट बाहिर, पहिलो त नेपालबाट भारतमा निर्यात भइरहेको छ। कतिपय कठफारहरू नेपालबाट भारत गइरहेका छन्। दोस्रो हाम्रो निर्यातको देश भनेको मध्यपूर्व हो। खास गरी कठफारहरूमा मध्यपूर्वका कतार र दुबईमा नेपालको फूलहरू गइरहेको छ। त्यस्तै गरेर नेपालको फूलजन्य वस्तुहरू, खास गरी बल्बहरू र फूलका बिउहरू नेपालबाट अमेरिका र केही युरोपियन मुलुकहरूमा यहाँबाट गइरहेको छ।
तर उत्पादन भएको फूलले स्वदेशकै बजार धान्न नसकेकोले पुष्प व्यवसायीहरू समस्यामा परिरहेका छन्। यसरी माग अनुसार उत्पादन हुन नसक्दा चाडपर्व, विवाह, व्रतबन्ध जस्ता बढी फूलको प्रयोग हुने मौसममा ठूलो परिमाणमा विदेशबाट फूलको आयात गरी नेपाली बजारको मागलाई पूरा गर्नुपर्ने अवस्था रहेको छ। व्यावसायिक पुष्प उत्पादनमा देखिएको प्रविधिको विकासको कमी, उत्पादनपछि बजारसम्म पुर्याउन उचित व्यवस्थापनको कमी र पुष्प व्यवसायको प्रवर्तन गर्ने निकायको अभाव जस्ता समस्याहरू नेपालको पुष्प व्यवसायमा देखिएको प्रमुख समस्या हो। यस्तै समस्याहरूको समाधान गर्ने र नेपाली पुष्प व्यवसायको प्रवर्धन गर्ने उद्देश्यले सक्रिय रूपमा अघि बढेको संगठन हो फ्लोरिकल्चर एसोसिएसन नेपाल। फ्लोरिकल्चर एसोसिएसन नेपाल नेपालको पुष्प व्यवसायको प्रवर्धनका लागि संगठित भएका किसानहरूको एकमात्र छाता संगठन हो।
यो विशुद्ध व्यवसायीहरूको संस्था हो। यसले नेपालमा रहेका पुष्प क्षेत्रमा काम गर्ने व्यवसायीहरू यसका सदस्य हुन सक्छन्। ती व्यवसायीहरूबाट को प्रवर्धन गर्नको लागि यो गठन गरिएको संस्था हो। खास गरेर गैर नाफा कमाउने उद्देश्यबाट होइन कि नाफा नकमाउने उद्देश्य सहित यसले खास गरेर व्यवसायको प्रवर्धन गर्नको लागि स्थापना गरेको संस्था हो।
नेपालमा छरिएर रहेका पुष्प व्यवसायीहरूलाई संगठित गरी उनीहरूको हक हितका लागि स्थापना भएको यो संगठनले आफ्नो स्थापनाको 30 दशक भन्दा बढी समय पार गरिसकेको छ।
यो संस्था 2049 साल चैत्र 15 गते स्थापना भएको हो। यो संस्थाको मुख्य उद्देश्य भनेको नेपालमा जुन पुष्प क्षेत्रमा काम गर्नको लागि जुन व्यवसायीले काम गरिरहेका छन्, छुट्टा छुट्टै रूपमा एक आपसमा काम गरिरहेका छन्, उनीहरूलाई सङ्गठित रूपमा राख्नको लागि र उनीहरूको व्यवसायको प्रवर्धन गर्नको लागि र उनीहरूको लागि जुन व्यवसाय क्षेत्रमा काम गर्ने क्रममा आइपर्ने समस्याहरूको विषयमा समाधान गर्नको लागि र नेपाल सरकारका विभिन्न अङ्गहरूसँग नेपालका व्यवसायलाई जोड्नको लागि स्थापना गरिएको हो। त्यस क्षेत्रमा यसले लामो समयदेखि काम गर्दै आइरहेको छ।
यो समयमा पुष्प व्यवसायको प्रवर्धनका लागि नीति नियम निर्माण गर्ने, बजारको खोजी गर्ने, उत्पादनको गुणस्तरमा सुधार ल्याउने र किसानहरूलाई नयाँ नयाँ प्रविधिको जानकारी गराउने जस्ता अभ्यासहरूमा संगठन सधैँ सक्रिय रहँदै आएको छ। हाल यो संगठन विभिन्न आधुनिक प्रविधिको विकास गरेर गुणस्तरीय फूल उत्पादन गर्ने र नेपालको आन्तरिक मागलाई पूरा गरी अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय बजारमा नेपाली फूलको बजार विस्तार गर्न विभिन्न अभ्यासहरू गरिरहेको छ।
नेपालको आन्तरिक मागमा प्रयोग हुने फूलहरू आन्तरिक माग जुन छ त्यसलाई पूर्ण रूपमा आन्तरिक उत्पादनले प्रतिस्थापन गर्ने हाम्रो लक्ष्य छ पहिलो कुरा, र दोस्रो लक्ष्य भनेको हाम्रो नेपालको फूललाई अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय बजारमासम्म पुर्याएर अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय रूपमा हाम्रो विदेशी मुद्रा आर्जन गर्ने वातावरणको तयार गर्ने एसोसिएसनको दोस्रो लक्ष्य हो।
तर नेपालमा पुष्प क्षेत्रमा देखिएको पर्याप्त लगानीको अभावले गर्दा पुष्प व्यवसायमा आधुनिक प्रविधिको विकास हुन भने सकेको छैन, जसका कारण नेपालका पुष्प व्यवसायीहरूले गुणस्तरीय फूल बजारसम्म पुर्याउन सकिरहेका छैनन्। यी किसानहरूले परम्परागत शैलीमा नै गुणस्तरीय फूल उत्पादन गरे पनि उत्पादन भएपछि बजारसम्म पुर्याउँदा हुने क्षतिलाई न्यूनीकरण गर्न सकेका छैनन्। यही समस्यालाई ध्यानमा राखेर अहिले फ्लोरिकल्चर एसोसिएसन नेपालले गुणस्तरीय फूल उत्पादन गर्ने प्रविधि र फूलको गुणस्तर कायम राख्न के कस्ता प्रविधिहरू अपनाउन सकिन्छ भन्ने कुराको खोजीमा निरन्तर लागिरहेको छ। यसका लागि एसोसिएसनले नेपाल सरकार कृषि विकास मन्त्रालय अन्तर्गतको व्यावसायिक कृषि तथा व्यापार आयोजना संघको साझेदारीमा नेपालका प्रमुख कटफ्लावरहरूको राष्ट्रिय तथा अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय स्तरमा बजार सबल बनाउने 2 वर्षीय उपायोजना सञ्चालन गरेको छ।
हाम्रो चाहिँ कुल आयोजना भनेर चाहिँ हाम्रो 40 लाख हाराहारीको हो, अनि प्याक्टको चाहिँ यहाँ जम्मा 26,72,000को प्याक्टको सहयोग थियो। त्यसपछि हामीले हाम्रो एसोसिएसनको तर्फबाट चाहिँ 13 लाख रुपियाँ।
मुख्यतया कटफ्लावरमा देखिने पोस्ट हार्भेस्ट क्षति न्यूनीकरण, फूलको परीक्षण उत्पादन र कटफ्लावरको बजार विकास गर्ने उद्देश्यले यो उपायोजना सञ्चालन गरिएको छ। उपायोजना सञ्चालनपछि एसोसिएसनले उपायोजनाको पारदर्शितालाई कायम राख्न होर्डिङ बोर्ड राख्ने र सार्वजनिक सुनवाईका कार्यक्रमहरू आयोजना गर्ने जस्ता क्रियाकलापहरू सञ्चालन गरेको छ। उपायोजनालाई अगाडि बढाउने क्रममा एसोसिएसनले कटफ्लावरलाई विभिन्न प्रविधिहरूको प्रयोग गरेर कसरी सुरक्षित तरिकाले बजारसम्म पुर्याउन सकिन्छ भन्ने विषयमा विभिन्न अध्ययनहरू गरेको छ। त्यसैगरी एसोसिएसनले उपायोजना सञ्चालनकै क्रममा पोस्ट हार्भेस्ट क्षति न्यूनीकरणका लागि पुष्प उत्पादक किसानहरू र पुष्प बिक्री गर्ने व्यवसायीहरूमाझ अन्तर्क्रिया गराएर समस्याको पहिचान गर्ने काम गरेको छ।
सुरुमा हामीले यो चाहिँ अब पोस्ट हार्भेस्ट क्षतिलाई न्यूनीकरण कसरी गर्न सकिन्छ भन्ने विषयमा हामीले सुरुमा चाहिँ हाम्रो कठफलावर उत्पादकहरूलाई हामीले चाहिँ तालिम गरायौँ, जसले चाहिँ अब ती उत्पादकहरूलाई पोस्ट हार्भेस्ट क्षति भनेको के हो भन्ने विषयमा उहाँहरूलाई थाहा थिएन त्यतिखेर।
यस्ता अन्तर्क्रिया र अध्ययनहरूले फूलको उत्पादनपछि फूललाई लामो समयसम्म सुरक्षित भण्डारण गर्ने प्रविधिको अभावले यसको गुणस्तर कायम राख्न नसकिएको र व्यवसायीहरूले बढी क्षति बेहोर्नु परेको समस्या पहिले आएको छ। त्यसैले अहिले आयोजनाको सहयोगमा एसोसिएसनले फूललाई लामो समयसम्म भण्डारण गरेर राख्दा पनि यसको गुणस्तर कायम राख्न सकिने कुलिङ चेम्बरको स्थापना गरेको छ।
उत्पादन गरेको वस्तु जुन बजारमा डिमान्ड नभएको बेलामा उत्पादन हुन्छ, त्यो उत्पादन गरेको वस्तु चाहिँ तत्काल बजारमा नजाँदाखेरि चाहिँ क्षति भएको कारणले गर्दाखेरि त्यसलाई कोल्ड स्टोरमा राख्नुपर्छ भनेर हामीले चाहिँ काठमाडौँ प्लाजामा जुन ग्लोबल प्रालीको चाहिँ मतलब होलसेलमा हामीले करिब 1 लाख स्टिक फुल अड्ने चाहिँ हामीले कुलिङ च्याम्बर हामीले निर्माण गरेका छौँ।
यस्तै नेपालमा सजावटका लागि बढी प्रयोग हुने कार्नेसन फूलको माग अत्याधिक हुँदाहुँदै पनि वर्षायाममा मात्रै यसको उत्पादन गर्न सकिने कारण हिउँदमा देखिने अभावलाई पूरा गर्न अभावको समयमा पनि उत्पादन गर्न सकिने प्रविधिको विकास गर्न किसानहरूलाई कार्नेसन फूलको अभिमुखीकरण तालिम दिई यसको परीक्षण खेती समेत गरिएको छ।
यो हिउँदो मौसममा चाहिँ कटफ्लावरको चाहिँ अलिकति स्कार्सिटी हुने, प्रोडक्सन नहुने, त्यसकारणले गर्दाखेरि हामीले कुन ठाउँमा चाहिँ त्यो प्रोडक्सन हुनसक्छ जाडो मौसममा भनेर हामीले तनहुँ र कास्कीमा एउटा सर्ट स्टडी गरेका थियौँ। त्यहाँ चाहिँ हामीले पाइलट प्रोजेक्ट बनाएर त्यहाँ कसरी उत्पादन गर्न सकिन्छ, त्यहाँको सम्भावना छ कि छैन भन्ने कुरा त्यो हामीले कार्यक्रम राखेका थियौँ। हामीले अब जाडो मौसममा चाहिँ हामीले कास्की तनहुँ लगायतका ती बेल्टहरू जहाँ चाहिँ अलिकति गर्मी जाडो चाहिँ मतलब 7-8 डिग्रीभन्दा तल झर्दैन त्यो ठाउँहरूमा चाहिँ जाडो मौसममा फुल उत्पादन गरेर जस्तो काठमाडौँको बजारमा चाहिँ बेच्न सक्ने या चाहिँ अन्य चाहिँ बजारहरूमा जहाँ डिमान्ड हुन्छ त्यो ठाउँमा चाहिँ बेच्न सक्ने चाहिँ सम्भावना देखियो। हामीले त्यो हाम्रो निष्कर्ष चाहिँ त्यो ठाउँमा चाहिँ इन्भेस्ट गर्नुहुन्छ भन्ने हाम्रो निष्कर्ष हो।
यसबाहेक व्यावसायिक फूल खेतीमा संलग्न किसानहरूले एसोसिएसनको सहयोगमा क्षमता विकासका अन्य विभिन्न तालिमहरू पनि प्राप्त गरेका छन्। एसोसिएसनले गरेको अध्ययनबाट पुष्प व्यवसायको लागि उचित ठहरिएका स्थानहरूमा आयोजनाको सहयोगमा फूल बिक्री गर्ने पसलहरू पनि स्थापना गरिएको छ।
कटफ्लावर पसल सञ्चालन गर्नाले एउटा पुष्प बजारको अभिवृद्धि हुने र अर्को चाहिँ के हो भने त्यहाँ जुन जसले फूल प्रयोग गर्न चाहन्छ फूलका उपभोक्ताहरूको रुचिको विषयमा पनि हामीले केही जान्ने मौका र उहाँहरूलाई चाहिँ अब जसलाई प्रयोग गर्न मन लाग्छ त्यहाँ बजार भएन भने त उसले त किन्न पाएन, किन्न नपाउँदाखेरि उसले फूल प्रयोग गर्न पाएन, फूल प्रयोग गर्न पाउँदै अन्य वस्तुहरू प्रयोग गर्न थाल्छ जस्तो चाहिँ अब खादा, त्यस पछाडि चाहिँ तपाईँको पेपरका फुलहरू प्रयोग गर्ने भएको कारणले गर्दाखेरि हामीले प्राकृतिक फुलहरूको चाहिँ पसल चाहिँ स्थापना गर्दाखेरि हामीले चाहिँ फुलको बजारको अभिवृद्धि हुने र फुलको प्रयोगकर्ता पनि बढ्ने भएको कारणले गर्दाखेरि हामीले त्यो पसलहरू स्थापना गर्यौँ।
पुष्प व्यवसायको बजार प्रवर्धनका लागि विभिन्न पर्वहरूलाई लक्षित गरेर अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय, राष्ट्रिय तथा क्षेत्रीय स्तरका पुष्प मेलाहरू आयोजना गरी नेपालमा उत्पादन भएका फूल स्वदेशी र विदेशी पारखीहरू समक्ष चिनाउने काम एसोसिएसनले गरेको छ।
नेपालमा उत्पादित गरेको विभिन्न किसिमको फुलहरू चाहिँ विश्व बजारसम्म पहुँच पुर्याउन सक्ने थुप्रै सम्भावनाहरू हामीमा छन्। त्यस दृष्टिकोणले हेर्दाखेरि हामी अहिले जति गरिरहेछौँ यसैमा खुसी भइहाल्नुपर्ने ठाउँ छैन। हाम्रो प्रयास भर्खर सुरुवात भएको छ। यो प्रयासलाई हामीले अझ बढी लानुपर्ने चाहिँ नितान्त आवश्यकता छ।
हिजोको दिनमा हामीले घर बगैँचामा फुल लगाउँथ्यौँ सजाउनको लागि, पूजा लगायतका कामहरूमा उपयोग गर्नको लागि। अब पुष्प मार्फत, फुल मार्फत हामीले आम्दानी बढाउने काममा लागेका छौँ। यस मानेमा पुष्प उद्योगकै रूपमा यो अगाडि बढिसकेको छ।
हामीले अहिले एउटा पुष्प नीति भनेर ल्याइसकेका छौँ। त्यो पुष्प नीतिलाई अझै भोलिका दिनमा पनि जोसुकै मन्त्री आए पनि त्यसलाई तपाईहरूको हितका निमित्त, तपाईहरूको व्यवसाय संरक्षण हुने गरी कसरी बनाउन सकिन्छ, राष्ट्रिय आय आर्जनका निमित्त अनुकूल हुने गरी कसरी निर्माण गर्न सकिन्छ, तपाईहरूले मलाई सुझाव दिनुभयो भने मैले सम्बन्धित ठाउँबाट त्यसलाई तपाईहरूको हित अनुकूल नेपालको राष्ट्रिय आयमा अभिवृद्धि हुने किसिमबाट त्यसलाई परिमार्जन गर्नका निमित्त म सदैव तम तयार छु।
एसोसिएसनले विभिन्न अध्ययन र प्रविधिको विकास गर्दै व्यावसायिक कृषि तथा व्यापार आयोजनाको साझेदारीमा सञ्चालन गरेको 2 वर्षीय उपायोजना पनि सम्पन्न गरिसकेको छ। उपायोजना सञ्चालनका क्रममा नेपालको पुष्प क्षेत्रमा गरिएको विभिन्न अध्ययन र सोही अनुसार गरिएको प्रविधिको विकासले अहिले पुष्प व्यवसायप्रति किसानहरूको आकर्षण बढ्दो छ, जसका कारण विदेशी बजारबाट आयात हुने महँगो मूल्यका फूलहरू स्वदेशमा नै उत्पादन गर्न सफल छन् नेपाली किसानहरू।
And we're going to talk about gardening trends. And you know, our gardens today are not the same as grandma's garden, right? They're probably smaller, and we've got more containers, lower maintenance probably than our gardens of 100 years ago. And Barb also wrote a really nice thing about from edibles to succulents to pollinators. Let's look at what the experts say will be the hot gardening trends in 2015. And the person who monitors the trends at NDSU for gardening is Barb Lashkowitz. She is our research specialist. She is in charge of the flower trial. So Barb's always looking for the new and latest, the most improved stuff to help us have a great garden. So let's welcome Barb and find out about the trends coming up.
Thank you for the nice introduction, Tom. I will try to speak loudly, so if you cannot hear me in the back, raise your hand and I'll try to project better. And those of you in the front, I'm sorry if I'm too loud, but I want to make sure, oh, Harlene's back there going, I can't hear you. Anyway, so we're going to talk about some garden trends. I have 10, and I know there's more, and there's probably something I'm not going to cover that is of interest to some of you, and that's fine, because I'll cover that at the very last slide. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is the succulents. And you cannot look anywhere these days, it seems like, without seeing the succulents somewhere. And they've actually, this isn't that new, I would say, for the last couple of years. They've been popular not only in our landscapes. There are some that are hardy for our Zone 3, Zone 4 area. Also in pots, especially in pots, patio plants, they're really quite popular. And even in floral design. And the nice thing about using them in floral design, especially if you're using them in like wedding work, is that if it's in a bridal bouquet or something like that, the bride can rip them out and then have this memory of her wedding. Whereas with regular flowers, you don't get that possibility. So there's really some fun things we can do with the succulents. So let's just take a quick look at what we mean when we're talking about succulent plants. And basically, they're plants that will store water in either their leaves or their stems. They're very easy to grow, and that's one of the keys here, is that most of them, it's hard to kill them unless you give them too much care, overwater them, then they often will rot. They have low water needs, a wide temperature range. The one thing that they almost all have in common, though, is that they like bright light. They're going to do better in a brighter light situation. They're also often slower growing, so we can keep them in a smaller container for a long time without having them get out of control, which some houseplants can get really big fast, and then what do? And there's really a variety of colors and shapes and textures in this category, so you can do a lot of different things without having to worry about flowers and that sort of thing. So, and just briefly, all cacti are succulents. They store their water in their stems, but not all succulents are cacti. And I'm going to talk about non-cacti succulents because they're easier to work with. I mean, who wants to work with things like, some people do. Some people love cacti, and they will have them, and that's great. There are some fun ones, and they have really pretty flowers, but for me, we have a collection in the greenhouse, and I brushed against one too many times. It's like, yeah, we're going to forget about those for today. Now, some succulents are already very popular as houseplants, and again, anybody that thinks they can't grow a houseplant, they have not tried Sansevieria. That plant is one that will survive a wide range of anything. It's called mother-in-law's tongue. I'm sure you guys are familiar with that, which mother-in-laws can be very nice, but it's just kind of funny how these common names happen. Now that's kind of the regular Sansevieria. There's also one called a bird's nest Sansevieria, which is smaller and will fit into a smaller spot as opposed to the regular Sansevieria, which can get quite tall but stays kind of skinny. Peperomia is another commonly seen houseplant, not only the variegated kind here, there's ones with smaller foliage and ones with just straight green foliage. And the Christmas cactus. It's not really a cactus, but we call it that because it does, what we see on the Christmas cactus is the stem holding the water, and then it blooms. There's a Thanksgiving cactus and an Easter cactus and the Christmas cactus, but we see those quite often as well. So already we see succulents used as houseplants. But the industry right now is focusing on some different types of succulents beyond the ones that we've seen for many, many years. And one of the genera that we see are the Haworthias, which there's a lot of Haworthias. These were just some that we had in our plant collection that I took quick pictures of. They typically have that rosette formation. The one on the far left is called a zebra Haworthia, and I forget the others. But they're, again, just to show you the wide variety of coloration that we get just within one genus with the plants. Now, they are slow growing, but some of these, as they mature, do get kind of large, not only these, but some others. And the more optimum conditions we give them, the faster they will grow. So sometimes we like to not give them optimum conditions so we can keep them smaller and more contained in a container. The Echeverias is another common category that we see. Again, we get that rosette formation. And we actually, I should have taken a picture. We have an Echeveria at the greenhouse that's actually like 4 feet tall. So that's one that does get quite big. So you have to be kind of particular if you're trying to do a smaller garden with some of these. They can get big, although hopefully they stay a little smaller. And the Senecios, again, a very wide and diverse group of plants. On the left is one called the blue chalk sticks, which has that nice, pretty blue coloration. And on the right is the plant called the string of pearls, which is nice in pots because you can get it to kind of spill out of the pot. So, you know, they always talk about as you're designing pots, you have a spiller and a filler and a thriller and all those. So this would be your spiller coming out of your pot. And again, a smaller plant that grows a little more slowly. The blue chalk sticks might be your filler that fills things up a little bit more. And then just some others, and if you Google succulents, you're going to get a ton of different pictures, and they're very photogenic. So again, this is just a small grouping of them. On the far left is Calico Kitten Crassula. That has pink and gray and kind of light green coloration. The crassula is the same as our jade plant. but just to show the different, I'm sorry, can you guys not see? Just to show you the different, again, range of things we can get within each genera. And that's another one that kind of fills out and stays a little more sprawling. The Graptopetalum, the ghost plant, is an interesting one. Looks like some Echeverias, but this, again, we had this one in the greenhouse and it was blooming. I was almost going to call it an Echeveria, but it had a flower on it. And that's really the best way to identify anything. So I could tell by the flower that it was the Graptopetalum or the ghost plant. And that's a really interesting one too, because the foliage pieces will fall off and you can root another plant really quite easily from that petal. But that's also a problem with that plant, is that it's really easy for the foliage pieces to fall off. And then on the far right is the burro's tail. And again, this one in our plant collection for people that come through at the greenhouse, that's one that always catches people's eyes, because the one that we have is like 3 feet trailing and it's just really interesting. But it's another one that the little foliages will fall off quite easily, but then you can get them to root, so you can get more plants. And then, so all those are not hardy here. If you wanted to have them outside, you'd have to have them in a patio container, bring them in the winter, or live in Arizona or Texas or someplace warm. But we do have some nice succulents that are hardy to zone 3 or 4, which is typically what we like to have around here in North Dakota. On the far left is Sedum kamchaticum. That's more of a ground cover sedum. Autumn joy sedums are more upright, and the autumn joy especially are nice because the foliage is very nice, and then in the fall they'll get the nice pretty pink blooms on them. In the middle we have the hen and chicks plant, Sempervivum, which can almost be weedy if it goes unchecked, but that's another kind of old-fashioned heirloom type plant. And then the Yucca glaucas are very hardy. We have some on campus. They're a little harder to work with though, because they're kind of pokey, and so you have to be careful where you plant them. But definitely the sedums, a very large genus that you could probably do a really nice bed just with all the different growth of the different species there. Okay, that brings us to trend number 2, which again, I think it's a continuing trend with a lot of people, and that's low maintenance gardening, xeriscaping, native plantings, whatever you want to call it. So this is where we're trying to plant landscapes that don't need basically a lot of water or a lot of care. That's me. I'm a lazy gardener. If I can put a flower garden in and not worry about it, that's what I want to do. Oftentimes, we like to go with the native plants on something like this because they've grown up around here and they can grow here. But there's a lot of non-native plants too that will grow very well. So don't feel like you're limited to just using the prairie plants that we have around here. So some growing tips when you are trying to do something like this. One important thing I know that Steve mentioned is match the plants to the site. There's nothing more frustrating than taking something that loves the shade and putting it into a hot garden, bright prairie garden, or something that likes the prairie, and then you try to grow it in a woodland situation. You have to be aware of what the plants want. It's very important. And even though our goal is to have a garden that's low water usage, until they're established, we're going to have to put water on them so that they do get their roots out and that they will be able to survive without the water. So initially, they're going to use water. One thing that's recommended is to use mulch to help conserve the moisture, help keep the weeds down. Personally, I don't use a lot of mulch. Mulch has its good times and its bad times, and for me, I can deal with everything without the mulch, so I'm not a big recommender of mulch, but for some of these beds it's very useful. And also weeds. People think if they're putting in a native prairie garden, they're just going to be able to plant it and those plants are going to thrive and grow and we're not going to have to do any maintenance on it at all. But trust me, the dandelions will come in, the aggressive Some of the asters can be very aggressive, some of the goldenrods. You're going to have to go in on a yearly basis and take out things that are too aggressive or coming in. So it's not going to be a no-maintenance garden by any means, but hopefully low maintenance. And I just want to mention on our hort gardens on the west side of campus, I have started a meadow garden, and that kind of ties in with a few of these trends here. But a meadow garden is getting a bed of native grasses established and then putting in forbs or the flowering plants. And it's the one I've done, as you can see, has a very wild look to it. You can do more non-wild looks too. And if you're a gardener that likes everything in a row and very organized, you're not going to like this meadow look because it is very natural. But I was kind of excited this year, and I know people across the state can't see. It's been about 3 years since I put these in, and I see some volunteers coming up within the plants that I already put in. And I kind of like to see that, except the Heliopsis here that's volunteering one little plant last fall. There might be a whole patch of it this summer, so I'm going to have to keep my eye on it. But I want to see more things come up that I haven't put in. And I'm hoping that this spring I can burn it down, because that's the best management for something like a meadow garden. Every few years to try to burn it down like a grass prairie fire would do. But since this is on campus and in the middle of town, I'm not sure I can do that, but I'm going to try. If I can't burn it, I'm just going to go in with a DR trimmer and cut everything back, because I have not done that for a couple of years and it needs to probably get cleaned out a little bit. So if you want to come and see a meadow garden, come to the beds this summer, and it's going to change. The nice thing about these two is they change over the seasons, as any good perennial garden should. So just some specific plants for this kind of garden, and this is by no means inclusive. There are so many plants. But the echinaceas, which is on the left or the right, Russian sages, again, you get that nice gray, bluish green foliage, although they are a little bit larger, so you have to be prepared to manage that. The sedums, again, are great. Liatris, Heliopsis, Salvia, purple prairie clover. I really like that one too, down in the corner. And what I did last year too, I've been collecting seeds so that I can try to start some more stuff in the greenhouse or spread it out of the ones I really like to make sure that they continue growing and that some of the other ones don't choke them out. And then some of the grasses, and again, these are all native to the prairies of North Dakota, Minnesota. Little blue stem, which is Schizocurium, I've got this genus behind them here. Big blue stem, so little blue stem is about 3 to 4 feet high. The big blue stem is this stuff that was on the prairies that's like 5 to 6 feet tall. That can get quite large. June grass, prairie dropseed, which is more of a delicate, little shorter grass. The switchgrass, panicum, blue grama, and then side oats grama. The blue grama is also called eyelash grass. It's a smaller one, and the seed heads look like little eyelashes, so it gives an interest with the seed head that way. So these are all really good grasses once they're established. You just have to check the heights. If you don't want anything really tall, stay away from the blue stems. If you want something shorter, I would go with the June grasses and the gramas. Okay, that kind of leads us into the third one, which I have some issues with, and that's making our lawns smaller and maybe totally going without a lawn. And the reason for that, granted, it's because lawns can be very high maintenance. They can take a lot of fertilizer, a lot of pesticides of some sort, weed killers, and that sort of thing. If managed correctly, though, that shouldn't be a big problem with the runoff, and I think that's, people are seeing these chemicals applied running off into our waters, and that is a valid problem. But if, again, they're applied correctly, if people don't spread their fertilizer all over everything, like their driveway and their sidewalks, because that's really where the runoff is coming from, is that chemical that gets not on the grass, but on other spots. So there's a management issue there with the homeowners. And I just think there's nothing more relaxing than a spot of turf under a tree where you can, walk in your bare feet in. So I think turf has its purpose. That being said, there is a trend toward trying to get away from that higher maintenance thing, but then sometimes, like, I don't think that this particular situation is going to be any lower maintenance than a lawn. Sometimes perennials can also be very high maintenance. But what things that we can do if we're trying to be less of a lawn is people are putting in more patios and pavers, but then again with the runoff, turf really soaks up a lot of water. And if you're putting in more hardscaping, you know, more water is going to run off. So we have to kind of balance it that way. There are some nice ground covers that we can walk on and that will look turf-like without the high maintenance. Again, using more mulches. Putting English gardens in your front yard. Again, maybe a little higher maintenance, but there's some nice gardens in town that have that cottage garden look. I'm going with the meadows and even vegetable gardens, although if you're in a newer development, there's a lot of rules that sometimes have to follow, so vegetable garden in the front yard might not be allowed, so you really have to make sure. That's why I like the old part of Fargo, because you can do anything and get away with it. So that's my stance on that. It is a trend, good or bad. And that ties into trend number 4, which is organic or sustainable gardening. I myself have a problem with the term organic because for me, organic always meant chemistry and chemicals, and that's really the opposite of what it means now, is going without the chemicals. So that's why I have organic in quotes there. But these are all things that I think gardeners do a lot of already, and it's just now becoming trendy to kind of garden this way. So all these things tie in. Low maintenance and lawn free. Reducing our use of chemicals, and that I think is very important. I think that ties in with the correct plant selection. If you have a healthy plant, you're not going to attract insects. It's going to grow good. You're not going to need to apply a lot of chemicals to it. Conserving water and controlling runoff. So with the rain barrels, that could be a whole other trend, you know, catching the water under your gutter. Controlling the water that does run off of your land. Again, a nice lawn will soak up a lot of water. Reducing the use of the fossil fuels. So instead of firing up the gas-powered trimmer and the gas-powered leaf mower and the gas-powered mower, let's go out with a hand clipper. I mean, it depends on how many acres you have to trim, but it's pretty relaxing to go out there with a little grass trimmer and just go, you know, or, you know, rake your leaves. Do we have to be blowing them everywhere? And we used to use one of those reel mowers that, again, that noise is very relaxing, and it's actually better for the grass to cut it with that scissor type action. So these are all things that can be done depending on how active you are about doing it. Composting is another way we can be more sustainable in our garden. We think that could, again, be a separate trend. You know, even just taking your kitchen scraps and composting them. And the city of Fargo has composting bins that you can purchase. So the city is trying, at least in Fargo here, the city is trying to make it very easy for people to do that and reduce the load into the landfill. And of course, there's lots of spots you can take your yard waste as well for the city to compost. And then again, if there is repeating, smart plant selection is just going to avoid a whole lot of problems, so you don't have to use a lot of the chemicals and that sort of thing. Okay, a bigger topic, cover a little bit more here, is the pollinator gardens. Topic number 5. And I know Todd talked about bees and whatnot last night, and it is a big trend, especially with the bees dying. And it's not just bees, though. Pollinators are anything that comes to your garden that will move the pollen around. So it is the bees, it's also the hummingbirds, it's bats, it's, what else do I have up there? Bats and moths, beetles. So anything that will get into those flowers and move the pollen around. Couple sites that I ran into that just have really simple information if you want to go. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service has a really nice little brochure on the web. And then there's a society called the Xerces Society for Invertebrate Conservation. Has anybody in Fargo here ever heard of that society? A few of you have. They have the largest pollinator conservation program in the world. They're located in Portland, Oregon, and if you go to xerces.com, you'll see all the work they're doing. The invertebrates cover the beetles and the bees and the dragonflies and other things like mollusks and crustaceans, anything without a vertebrate, basically. So it was an interesting site for me to come across, and the sign here, I believe, is from their society. That's their pollinator garden marking. So, some pollinator-friendly practices that, as I was going through, I didn't even realize some of these. One is that you want to have a variety of plants. You want to have plants blooming from the spring all the way to the fall, so that there's always some pollen there for them. That makes sense. You have pollen that's accessible, and a lot of the hybrid flowers have double blooms or triple blooms, so it's hard to get into the pollen. So it's better to go with the species plants where the pollen is more accessible. Native plants are often recommended because they'll attract the native bees that are used to those plants. Colors are important. Again, this is not something I knew. Bees will prefer yellow, blue, and purple, while butterflies like the reds, the oranges, and the yellows. Shape of the flower is also important. I think we know the hummingbirds with more of the tubular flower, whereas bees will land on the flower. So that's important. And it's also important for your plants to be in groupings so that they're big enough so that the pollinators can see the plants. You know, one plant here, one plant there might not attract them as much as a huge grouping of the echinacea or the liatris or something like that. And we have to be willing to grow some weeds, especially with the butterflies and the larvae. So the milkweeds are important, dandelions, habitat for nesting, limiting the use of pesticides. Again, that goes back to sustainable gardening, and then providing a water source. Not something I had thought about either. And then the industry is catering to this. If you look in some magazines, they have special gardens. You can just buy the package deal, and you're good to go. Another good site from the NRCS, USDA, these are like 86 plants that are conservation plantings, and their usefulness as pollinators. So it's another one you can go visit. Some specific plants here, hyssop, a lot of the herbs. See, and I said I wasn't going to talk long. Number 6 is terrariums, something from the 70s coming back, and again, thanks to things like Pinterest, where if you're on Pinterest, there's lots of fun things to do. They can either be enclosed or open. If they're enclosed, you have to watch out to make sure they're not in bright sunlight or they'll heat up. You want to group like plants together. And again, just a wide variety of containers can be used for the terrariums. This was just an interesting story I saw on the internet, so it must be true. This gentleman in England started this terrarium in 1960, and in 1972 he put a cork in it and didn't do anything with it. And this is what it looks like today. Go to that website if you want to know more. Miniature and fairy gardens, a whole industry devoted to little plants and little things to put in your plants, both inside and outdoors. This is, you can see hostas and whatnot. Edible gardening, anywhere. Esther is going to talk about edible gardening next week, but we're talking edibles in your house, in your perennial beds, in your front yard, in your backyard, anywhere that you can put a tomato or kale, do it. Garden art, again, Pinterest, and I'm not employed by Pinterest at all, but that's a website that has wonderful ideas for recycling things for your garden. These are terracotta pots that have been painted and made to look like mushrooms. I've seen a lot of these at the craft shows, old cups and saucers made into flowers. And also garden lighting. This one was some old light fixtures that somebody found at the second-hand store, and they shoved a bunch of old Christmas lights inside them, put them in their yard, and voila, something fun and interesting. But garden lighting, using our outdoors as much as possible, is another fun thing to do. And there's solar lights, there's lights you can make, just to make that outdoors more appealing. So, at the very end, don't worry if you don't fall into any of the trends. There's also, square foot gardening, and somebody was telling me today about straw bale gardening. There's lots of fun things to do. Just do what you like. If you want it to become a trend, put it on Pinterest and pin it, and then everybody will see. There. I'm sorry. And here I thought I was going to be short.
Been worried there for a while, but you just wrapped it up beautifully. Now, we can have a brief question and answer session now. Let's get rocking and rolling here. Barb, where's a good source for native plants or seeds?
I do have two sources out of Minnesota. One is Prairie Moon Nursery. The other one is Prairie Restorations. They both have, for the people in Fargo, I have a couple of their catalogs if you want to see them during the break. Excuse me, they also have good websites. So that would be two, and again, local sources that are nice.
You talked about the string of pearls. How do you propagate that? Can you?
Propagating string of pearls is easy. You just cut off one of the things and put it in water or some soil. Most of the succulents are very easy to start.
That's encouraging. Here's a sad story. We had a Christmas cactus for 65 years, but now it's wilted horribly. We've tried repotting, watering, fertilizing, but nothing seems to help. Any magic here?
No. That's so funny because I have a Christmas cactus that my grandmother had, and this Christmas cactus is probably that same age. And I had a similar problem with it where it was wilting. Don't think it likes the Fargo water. I did repot it, and it did perk up. If they've tried that, if they have just a little slig of a plant that still looks good, they might want to just start a whole new plant if some of it is still healthy. By just cutting it off, putting it into a lightweight soil, perlite, or even water, that might be the best thing to do.
The rescue mission. There you go. Do you ever give tours of the famous NDSU greenhouse?
Yes, but now I don't know if they're talking about the brand new spanking wonderful greenhouses. I'm not involved with that. I'm in the old character greenhouse. Yeah, which yes, I give tours of that. It's better in the spring because we have more plants. If you want to see the high-tech sparkling clean greenhouse, you have to talk to somebody else.
So, Barb, you give tours of your flower trials and like the meadow you talked about. So you can just contact Barb directly and set up a time, and she'll be happy to share that with you. And that really helps to have someone like her, lead you through those gardens to really show, to let you know all that you're seeing. Why can I not carry German roses over to the next year?
I don't know.
Okay, me either. How about can wild prairie crocus be grown in a garden?
I don't know why not.
Yeah.
If it's one that's hardy to our zone.
Are they grown from seed, Wow. Little bulbs, crocus.
Yeah, but everything can also form seed, if you're patient and want to
plants that you covered, Barb, are they outside plants or inside or both or what?
Both of them are going to have to be treated as house plants. That very last slide that showed the Sedum Kamchaticum, the Yucca glauca, and the hen and chicks. Those are all zone hardy. But if you're not sure, ask whoever you're buying it from or Google it. Google it on the interwebs.
Okay, we have a typo. It was not German roses. Breaking news. It was German irises with the problem. That's wrong. She mulches them. Cavalier County.
I know. We have a huge German iris collection at NDSU, and we've lost a lot. It seems like if we have a really wet April, I lose a lot, and I don't mulch. I don't have the manpower to mulch them all. So it's hard to say without knowing their growing conditions and what they're doing.
soil. They're hardy.
Hardy.
They're hardy.
Mm-hmm.
They need a well-drained soil, evidently.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you say, Elizabeth, okay, she wants to know, are we in zone 3 or zone 4? Well, it depends where you are, Elizabeth. I'd say at least 80% of North Dakotans are in zone 4. Just the top third of the state, top fourth of the state now is zone 3. So it depends where you are, Elizabeth, but probably zone 4. But you never know. On exposed areas of zone 4, you could have many sad stories of marginally hardy plants. So microclimates do exist.
Zone 5 plants that survived because nobody told them they were supposed to die. So.
Okay, we got a question here in Fargo. Are the fungus-resistant impatiens available locally? Must be those downy mildew ones.
I'm not sure, but I do know that the All America Selections has 2 2015 impatiens that are supposed to be resistant to the downy impatiens, downy mildew. I'm not sure that local nurseries, I'm not sure what they're carrying, but I should be getting that impatiens in. It's going to be All America Selections usually sends me seed, but this impatiens is vegetatively propagated, so they're going to be sending me plants. So I'm not sure locally what they're going to carry. The New Guineas are supposed to be resistant, but they're not. You don't get the same show as you do with the Malarianas. So check with your local garden centers.
And last comment, we have some iris information again. This person recommends stop mulching them. She lost some when they were mulched, so maybe you got to really